has deep roots in the community. He also has a very large presence in our community. Dear viewers, please join me in welcoming Frank Pullia, Councillor at Large, City of Thunder Bay. Welcome, Frank, and thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for the invite. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Frank. Frank, this show, Asian Vibes, is a platform that showcases and focuses on the Asian community in Thunder Bay. So, and you have been a long-time resident of Thunder Bay.
Yes, over 45 years.
45 years. So we are very interested to know about your association with the Asian community and also how it has evolved or emerged with time.
Yes.
45 years is
yeah,
quite some time.
I came here when I was 16.
16.
First generation immigrant, the first of my family. And many times I get asked that question, why Thunder Bay?
Why Thunder Bay?
I come from southern Italy. I grew up on the beach. So I came here in September 25th and it got cold very fast and I'm going, what am I doing here? But for some reason I felt right at home because I wanted to see how the rest of the family lived. I have many cousins and my uncles and aunts who lived in Thunder Bay. My grandfathers grew up here when they were kids. So there's a tremendous history and I wanted to find out how the rest of the family lived in Port Arthur and Fort William. Those were the names, So when I came, it was already Thunder Bay and I never left.
And we are so glad and happy to have you here with us.
I'm glad to be here.
Frank, how was the Asian community then? Way back?
I mean, way back then, I mean, even going back 10, 15, 20 years ago, there's been a tremendous evolution. Tremendous amount of changes, especially with the international students now coming. I remember, have always very much interested in the esoteric principles and teachings of the Orient. You know, I was very much in tune with the finding out more about the unity of purpose and the teaching. And for some reason, I got drawn to that. So I always enjoyed attending, you know, Indian nights. So the music reminded me so much of our classical music in southern Italy. I think there is some connection there because the same type of melody, the same kind of music. So it has changed a lot because I remember going to these events and we had maybe 30, 40 people, you know, 15, 20 families. And now when you go to Indian night, you're talking about 300, 400 people.
Yeah, minimum. And I also wanted to know that what was the community like, the Asian community in terms of composition? Did you have, was there a presence of a particular community more than the other?
It was hard to say because when I look at, you know, the Asian communities, I remember we never really, I think it's been very stable for a long time. And the composition, I remember when I first arrived, I went to the Multicultural Association. You know, I went to college to learn English as a second language. We didn't have just that many people from Asia that were great numbers. There was always small numbers. And it was more, to me, it was more homogeneous. So we're not distinguishing so much, you know, India, Pakistan, or the rest of, you know, the different countries from the Asian. It's like, oh, you're from Europe. You know, when I go to Italy, they say, oh, you're American. No, I'm Canadian. But you guys all American. And so they mix it all up. And that's, we do the same thing here,
it's only, if only they know that there are so
huge
many
differences,
absolutely. Each one is different. And so with regards to, you must be meeting a lot of people with your profession as the councillor. Do you get to hear of challenges of settling down as an immigrant way back from 45 years back from now and to current times?
Yes, I attend the Immigration Forum because I'm very much interested in the evolution of Thunder Bay. And as you know, even when I came in 1971, I was at the tail end of a wave of European immigrants.
Correct.
After that, there was very few immigrants. And when you look at the composition, the different numbers, there are very few numbers until recently, when now we're starting to see some growth. So it's been very stable. Traditionally, Thunder Bay has been multi-ethnic, but mostly European ethnicity. So the changes that you see now are just more current.
Current and visible, Frank.
Much more visible
much
now
more visible
than it was even 6-7 years ago.
I don't think we can put everybody together in the Asian bracket now because we do have a large Indian, definitely an Indian population,
Right.
but Chinese as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was going to Lakehead University,
Yeah,
it was much more evident that the Chinese community there, because there was quite a few international students,
Yeah.
Chinese students, many years ago. But now we have more of a good mix.
A blend, good blend.
Yeah, because we don't get as many European immigrants right now. There are more Asian immigrants coming. You see that emerging more and more, much more visible now. And also because some of the international students are staying, there is good jobs that are, actually there is some difficulties sometime attracting talent and qualified professional people. And at any given time, there are like 1,000 jobs now available on Indeed.ca, which is a job search website. And as you go, so we have this dilemma where there's a perception that there are no jobs, but there are many jobs that are not being filled. And we hear it from employers who are saying that they cannot expand and grow their company because they're having a hard time attracting certain talent. So the part is going to be becoming more and more important. Qualified immigrants, not just from overseas, but even from within Canada, from Toronto, who they're already attracting huge numbers, and I think we're starting to see that. And in the past, that there has been one thing that attracted, in a way, the Chinese community or the Asian community was their ability to buy into a business. That was, the succession planning, maybe their kids and the family members of that owner didn't want to take that over. So you saw for a while the emergence of different neighborhood stores being purchased by investor immigrants. At that time, Canada was providing a more easier entry, a passport, if you were investing in the community. So we see that for a while, and there's still a continuation of that. But now you see more of the international student community that is becoming, and families. There are entire families that are coming here. Young families. Part of that is the refugee groups that have arrived and they have blended in very well. I mean, we're talking about maybe less than about 100 families, 200-300 people, very well integrated into the community of Thunder Bay over the last couple of years, and they're opening businesses and they're making a valuable contribution to our economy and to our way of life.
Through entrepreneurs as well.
Yes.
Yeah, but do they share any challenges with you with regards to settlements besides the job search and language?
I think the challenges are common to anyone that comes into a new country, new
the
culture. I share that. And when I bring welcoming remarks to the Canadian citizens on behalf of Mayor and Council, I do share my stories. Like you, as a first-generation immigrant, I also, at the beginning, I was homesick. I didn't speak the language. And, you had to make new friends. So at the beginning, you tend to gather with the same people who have your same culture. And that's fine because that provides that support that you need at the beginning until you are more comfortable and reach out into the community. And Thunder Bay great strength is our diversity. I think is by sharing our culture, and we have done that over many years, that we become a stronger community. We become richer and stronger.
Hold on to that thought on diversity, because I have a few questions to ask you, Frank. We'll take a very short break. Dear viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Asian Vibes, and my guest today is Frank Pullia, Councillor at Large, City of Thunder Bay. Frank, when we in our last segment we were talking about diversity. What, according to you, is diversity, and why should we value diversity?
To me, diversity is a strength that needs to be valued, understood, and appreciated, because, in a way, Thunder Bay is unique. I mean, we can look at Toronto. I lived in Toronto for 6-7 months, and the diversity of the population of Toronto is just amazing. And so that adds a tremendous value to Toronto as an international city. But Thunder Bay, in its own way, even though traditionally we are diverse in our ethnicity from a European background, and now it's changing for more of an Asian in other parts of the world. So we're evolving that way. But when we think of diversity, is going back to why I always found I was attracted to the Asian philosophy of life and the concept of unity in purpose. Diversity is something to be celebrated. There's a unity in diversity. And what does that mean? How can we unite when we're diverse? Well, because like any other family, not everybody has the same personality.
Absolutely.
Not everybody has the same, wears the same clothes.
No.
So if you have kids, as a parent, you cherish, you appreciate the diversity of your family. And this is Thunder Bay, large family that is diverse and makes our life richer. And by sharing our culture, that we become stronger and richer through that experience of sharing cultures. And you can see that when we have we celebrate the different ethnicities, and there is a dinner, you see people from all walks of life. It's not just Italian night, only Italians, or Indian night, only people from India.
Oh no,
you
it's
have
a mixed
now,
group.
we celebrate the Black Month. There's another event. And I remember there was like hundreds of people from all nationalities. They were doing Latin dancing, the great diversity of food. That's something to be appreciated, and because it adds so much more to a Thunder Bay evolution and becoming more of a cosmopolitan city. Even though we seem to be in the middle of nowhere, but I tell you, with the high-speed access, and now we got fiber optics.
Absolutely.
We are not disconnected. We are highly connected with anyone, anybody,
Digitally.
anywhere in the world at any time.
Talking of dancing, have you tried Bollywood? Bollywood dancing?
Well, I like the rhythm. Okay, I mean, I like dancing, and I remember you asking before but any story that I wanted to share.
Do you have any anecdote?
When I went back to school to
Yeah.
get my master in business, I had the pleasure. We had such a diversity in the first MBA program in about 7-8 years ago, and there was many international students. And I remember bringing some of those students to the Italian night to celebrate our culture. And then I was invited by this young lady from India. She goes, "Why don't you come with, a group of us, come to the India night so we can celebrate our culture?" So yeah, let's go. And then, we were tired, had exams. I was ready to leave. And then the music started, and we were encouraged to stay and dance. And I says, "Okay, great, so we can dance." He goes, "No, but you can't dance with me. You gotta do and dance with the men, and the women dance with the women." Now that was 7 years ago. Okay.
Times have changed.
And I said that was a bit taken back. I says, "I can handle that." Going back in Southern Italy traditionally has changed tremendously, obviously. But I remember when I was going to high school there in the first junior high, we were separate classes. The boys in one class, the girls in another class. I'm going, I can handle that, because culturally, traditionally, I understand that you have to respect the culture. So I was dancing with the guys and then the women dance with the women, and we were looking at each other waving.
But times have changed now.
Oh yeah. 2 years ago, I went to India night, and it was amazing. First of all, it was sold out, 300-400 people, full. And when the music started, everybody was dancing with everybody.
Yes.
And I'm going, wow, things have changed.
I must inform you, Frank, 2 years back, I was the president of the India-Canada Association. Maybe you came and we danced together too. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. So just to show how quickly things are changing even here.
So Frank, you hold a very important leadership position in our community, and you can use this platform and the voice to advocate for social inclusiveness of societies and peoples. What do you think, how do we nurture this diversity? How do we, educate and bring awareness on diversity to our community? And who should we be nurturing? Who should we be educating?
I think the major concern, if you may want to call it concern, that emerges when we talk about immigration and growing our population, it's a bit of fear and misunderstanding about what we're talking about.
Not knowing the unknown.
Not knowing. When we talk about immigration, we're talking about a qualified immigrant who comes in to fill a position that is currently not being filled, and our immigration laws and rules in Canada are very strict.
True.
So in order to bring someone here, unless
already-
there's family reunification, you have to prove that no one else can do that job. And there are many jobs going unfilled because not everybody wants to move here and not everybody is qualified for those changing workforce. We're going through tremendous amount of changes in our own workforce.
Right.
So you have many times this situation where you may have high unemployment, even though our unemployment
Right.
in Thunder Bay has been relatively low, you know, and we don't just look at the unemployment rate, we look at the number of people being employed.
Okay.
That has grown in the last couple of years.
Right.
Almost 2,000 more people are now employed. So the number of employed people is growing.
Right.
So we're not really displacing anybody. You are actually facilitating the growth of the small, medium-sized business sector that employs over 80% of the people. So that's from an economic perspective. So we need to make it clear what we're talking about. When you have family reunification, usually you already have someone here that has a stable job and can bring the rest of the family over, like I did when I came here. So I can speak from experience.
True.
When I had to sign for the rest of my family, my parents, to come over and the rest of my brothers and sisters, I had to sign and be responsible for them. So I assumed that responsibility. It was never a drain to the Canadian economy. It was a contribution.
Yeah.
Because if Thunder Bay grows and grows in a positive way, it makes a positive impact on our economy, because we know that we don't have the economies of scale of a larger center.
Sure.
And we have a geographical distribution, and it's very expensive to run the city when you have to, snow plow has to go all the way to Town Line Road. So if we have a higher density and we can bring more people in who can spend money, do the shopping, buy furniture, it's like growing our economy. It's beneficial to all.
So yeah, basically respecting the education and the qualification
You're right.
experience that comes in with the immigrants as
Exactly.
well. Or anybody in that.
Exactly.
sector.
And,
Yeah.
you know, educating and explaining those points are very important. So as an elected official, it's also my responsibility, especially since I speak from personal experience, that we're managing it in a positive way. It's not like, you know, there's an influx of people that we are
Absolutely.
not able to manage. Toronto has different kind of issues. They got too many people coming in. They got 100,000 people per year. The subway system can even handle it. You got gridlock.
Yeah.
On average, people spend 3 hours in the vehicle going from point A to point B per day. So the slogan for Thunder Bay is, come here. There is more life here.
Aren't we lucky?
With 3 extra hours a day, I was able to complete my master of business
Yeah.
while I was on city council and running my consulting business.
And I reached my office in 10 minutes.
There you go.
Low carbon. So Frank, you'll hold on to that thought again, and
Yes.
we'll take a very short break, and we'll be right back to your viewers. Welcome back, viewers. We're talking to Frank Pullia on diversity and social inclusion. And I came across this beautiful definition, and this is according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Diversity is defined as any dimension that can be used to differentiate groups and people from one another. Simple and straight. These differences include ethnicity, gender, age, national origin, disabilities, sexual orientation, education, and religion. More than this, perspectives, work experiences, lifestyles, and cultures are also included. So diversity is respecting and appreciating these differences, some of which you covered in the last two segments.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to emphasize that instead of using diversity as a brand or as a slogan, you know, to nurture it in its true, pure sense. Yeah, to embrace all kinds of, you know, newness that you see with every diverse cultures that's coming and weaving into our society, in our community. And it's not time, you're not talking of current times. Any time, yeah, we have to be conscious about, you know, who and how we're treating other people. That's what my personal feeling is.
Absolutely. And that means becoming aware.
Aware, absolutely.
Awareness is the counterpoint of ignorance.
Yeah.
And the lack of knowledge and lack of understanding and appreciation
Right.
is that drives a wedge and creates disharmony in any community.
It's how you treat, how you want to be treated,
Exactly.
treat everybody else the same way.
So we need to appreciate, respect our differences, because everybody can make a contribution to our community. And then the meaning of community is like Thunder Bay, in many ways, is a community of communities.
Right, absolutely.
It's not just one community.
It is a community.
So it's the strength of each community that made a contribution historically, contemporary, in the future, by acknowledging that we are on the territory of the indigenous people who came, we're here first, that we acknowledge that, and we work in collaboration, because the philosophical principles of cooperation and collaboration and unity doesn't belong to just one group, it's universal. Because we're all human beings and we need to share in collaborating, in making whatever we have, whatever challenges we need, collaborate and overcome our challenges, build on our strengths, work on our weaknesses.
You talked of philosophy.
Yes.
And I have heard that you have interest in the Vedic knowledge of the Vedic knowledge, into ancient Hindu scriptures. How did that happen, Frank?
I have had the pleasure and great satisfaction and personal appreciation of studying the Bhagavad Gita since I was 17. The first book I bought when I came to Canada was The Life of a Yogi, Yogananda.
Yogananda.
Yeah. And that kind of opened my eyes. For some reason, since I was 14, 15, I got involved in the martial arts.
At the age of 17?
Yes. I came here, was almost 17. First book I bought, The Life of a Yogi, because since I was a kid, I always believed in the of personal knowledge. To me, I was reading. No one else in my family was wearing glasses. I was wearing glasses at 14 because I used to read a dozen books all the time. I was always seeking knowledge. And so that I was drawn to that book because self-realization and understanding who you are, it can connect you to the divine in a way that it's not otherwise possible when you get, because it's your own unique personal experience. And in today's spiritual domain, we talk about having a personal relationship with Christ, or with God, or with Manitou, or Krishna,
with Allah, anybody.
Allah, exactly. So it's the same concept of unity. And when you connect to the source, to the creator, then you realize that you are one with all. We are one big family, really. So the Vedic knowledge has allowed me to understand from a scientific principle, not just the dogma and the religious aspect of it, the science of spirituality, that to me is universal, and it's wide open and available for everyone. In today's stressful environment, with things moving so fast that we are hyper-connected, we have the smartphone and we are never alone, the ability to, now they use the term mindfulness, to be alone with yourself is really priceless. And now is becoming much more acceptable in the Western world, that you need to go in to understand the outer. We feed the external body, but how well do we feed the internal spirit? Because the outside only reflects what's inside.
Right.
And that should be priority number one. A lot of times we put it in the opposite way. And there is it's a dead end. Because, your materialistic attachment to the senses, it draws you away from the spirit. And it's very powerful pull. And therefore you need to balance it out with meditation and reconnecting with the spirit in order to have a more harmonious life. And many times a lot of the issues that we're confronting internally are internal issues that come out on the outside.
Surface,
So in order to make for a better community, and that's what the Vedic scriptures, and also I guess in a way my appreciation of that is because when I started the martial arts at 15, I started to study Buddhism and Zen. And the Zen meditation, the Zen approach to karate and martial arts is very much in tune with the whole philosophical appreciation of the esoteric principles of the Orient. So it wasn't just one, it was a collection of spiritual understanding that drew me in, and I like a great, like you recharge the batteries. There's a way to recharge the internal spirit, nourish the spirit, and allows me to be more effective and more able to handle a lot more stress in my life, because in politics, when you hear from people, rarely you hear from them because they want to say thank you. Usually you hear a complaint, which is part of our job. I'm not saying that because in any way, shape, or form I'm complaining.
No, but you also have to be in the frame of mind
to
address
be
those
there, and in our ability to confront our daily issues. Either you have, unruly kids, children, and you have issues with your own family, or you just lost your job. You don't know if there is job security in your industry. There's a lot of stressors. So studying the scripture, the Vedic scripture, puts things in perspective.
Interesting, Frank. Very interesting and very profound. I didn't know about this aspect of your understanding and your interest with the Vedic knowledge. But thank you so much for this very interesting chat, Frank.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoyed the sessions talking to you. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the very best in your political, in your spiritual, in your community life. Thank you very much. Dear viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and watching our show, Asian Vibes. And I hope you enjoyed this show. We look forward to meeting you again. Stay well.